Hello, everybody. Hello from Ensenada, Mexico. My first time here. Oh, hold on. My buddy Nick's here. What's up, Nick? Cruise life. Wish you were here. Normally, I only do 2-week cruises. For years, I've only done like 2-week, really long cruises. And I'm trying this one. This is a 3-day out of LA, and then I'm going on the 4-day tomorrow because my thought is that if it's fun to go on these short cruises, I might just go all the time. I had this vision that this podcast, this live stream, you'd be able to see like the blue ocean behind me and all this sort of stuff. But actually, I'm on the wrong side anyway in this port. All I see are container ships. Uh-oh, you can't see me. Can you hear me? It might be possible that this internet sucks too much for my video. This might not be good. Let's see. I'm going to wait till somebody says they can hear me or see me before I start. Oh, you can hear me, but you can't see me. That's not great. All right. Let's see. What can I do about that? It's very weird because I can see myself on the screen. All right, how about now? Anything on the screen? So the internet is not that good here, unfortunately. So I put the quality all the way down to the lowest, but maybe that's not going to be good enough. Oh, video's up now. Okay, good. Oh, it died again? Damn it. All right, guys, I might have to cancel this or redo it. Maybe tomorrow I'll have, I think I should have better internet tomorrow. I'm going to turn it off and on again. We'll try one more time. All right. Turn the camera back on. Let me know if you see anything. Hey, that's annoying. Sorry, guys. I have one more idea. If this doesn't work, then I'll try connecting from my phone. Oh, okay. Maybe you can see me now? Maybe. Let's see if it sticks. Hey, it works. Okay. Yeah? Works. Give it a couple more seconds. I am exhausted. I had to wake up early in the morning to do a COVID test because I'm doing back-to-back cruises and they make you do a COVID test. And then I went back to sleep and I set an alarm right before this. So I really am exhausted, but not in general. I've been sleeping great. In fact, hold on. Since Nick is here, I've been meaning to send Nick this screenshot just to show off a little bit. Nick and I are a little competitive about sleep. Look at this. 100 sleep score. How often do you see that? Anyway, so I'm on this short cruise out of LA. Really pretty fun. I think I might just go on this cruise all the time. It's called Navigator of the Seas is the name of the ship. This cruise only goes to Ensenada, Mexico, but then the next one that I'm going on starting tomorrow is also goes to Catalina. So if anybody has any suggestions for Ensenada or Catalina, let me know. Interested in them because I haven't looked up anything. But actually, it seems like maybe there's good scuba diving in Ensenada, so I might go next time. All right, so video's good, audio's good, everything's good. Great. Thanks for showing up, guys. This is sort of an experiment to see if I can do these things without having to write a blog post and putting it at the bottom, because as you know, I don't write as often anymore. And there are a lot of times when I'm just hanging out, drinking tea, and would be happy to do one of these, but I'm not sure if it's going to be, if people show up for it or not. Also, if anybody's watching this not on YouTube, will you let me know? It's on Facebook and Twitter now, too, and I don't really know how that works, and so I'm just curious if it's worth also broadcasting to those. Where's Helen? Helen's our cruise buddy. She's on the ship. She is... just inhaled some tea. She's off checking out Ensenada right now. And she sent me a picture that I'll show you guys this picture. I know there must be a better way to do it than holding up my phone, but look at this. There's a seal in the port. How crazy is that? All right. So let's see. We've got some questions here. If anybody has cruise questions, would love to answer cruise questions. By the way, my friend Nick, who I keep popping up here, one of my close friends, we've gone on a ton of cruises together. We were just on a great cruise on Symphony of the Seas a couple weeks ago, which was the biggest ship in the world at the time. Now they have a newer ship that's slightly bigger. Super, super fun. Nick loves doing the surf wave and the water slides on every cruise. So any cruise questions, let me know, but we can talk about anything. Somebody left one before it started, so I'm going to answer that before I start scrolling down too much. Suggestions for cruising the cheapest with 2 kids. I've got a few tips. And he specifically says that he's an SF, doesn't want to get down to LA. I'd say it's very commonly better to go to a different port because there'd be like 1 or 2 ships in San Francisco, so they're going to be kind of expensive, whereas LA or even Miami can be a lot cheaper, and sometimes the flights are so much cheaper that it's worth flying to a different port for it. One cool trick for kids, and I found this out recently, is that on ships, there's a few different classes. There's like interior, exterior, balcony, suite. There's a lot of variation in these rooms. And so, for example, maybe I'll post a picture. If anybody asks, I'll send you one. On the next cruise, I have an outside room, which is like the second cheapest kind of room you have, but it's enormous because it just happens to be this like weird corner room that's a lot bigger than other ones. And when I was looking, I saw one that had almost like an extra bunk room for kids. It had like these 2 bunk beds with like a little separate curtain for the kids, and then it had the room for the adults. And there's very often sales where the kids are free. So you'd really be paying like for 2 adults and the kids would get to go for free. And if you choose the right room, it might, you might not feel cramped at all. But I would say just like watch the sales, sign up for the Cruise Sheet newsletter. That's what it's for. Yeah. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Oh, good to see Dieter. What's up, man? Haven't seen you in a long time. Awesome to see you. Fatima, of course, another regular. Awesome to see you. Sorry, especially having both of you guys here. That's pretty cool. It's been a while. Any interesting perks as a cruise shareholder? Yes, great question. If you're a cruise shareholder, you get free money on every single cruise. And so if you cruise a lot, it almost doesn't matter what the performance of the stocks are because you can get a lot of benefits. So for example, on a longer cruise, I think over 7 days, you get $250 of onboard credit. So you can use that for internet, which we basically spend every single time. You could use it for like the indoor skydiving, which is maybe what I would do. This is the tricky one. It sometimes applies to tips. So if you don't use it the whole cruise, at the end it'll apply to the tips, but then I've also had it not apply to tips and I've lost it. So you have to be careful. I normally don't buy individual stocks, but when everything crashed like crazy, especially cruise stocks, I bought 100 shares of every cruise line. There's only really 3, Carnival, Norwegian, and Royal. Caribbean cover every single major cruise line because they're all subsidiaries. So I bought 100 shares of each because that's all you need to get the shareholder benefits. So great question. Definitely worth doing if you cruise a lot. If you don't want to buy that much stock, what I used to do is I would buy it. I would then show them that I bought it, go on the cruise, and then I would sell it. You could also buy options that would offset it, or sell some calls or something like that. So there's options there. Do you like Tom Cruise? Not really. No problem with him either. But I'll tell you a funny, tiny little Tom Cruise story. Back when I lived in LA with Neil Strauss, we were thinking about buying an airplane together, like a little Cessna kind of thing. And he was interviewing Tom Cruise, and he told Tom Cruise, and Tom was like, "Oh, well, you should definitely buy one. Here's some suggestions. And when you do, I have a mechanic on staff. He'll just check it out for you, make sure it's good." So if I had bought a plane, would have had Tom Cruise check it out, which would have been kind of neat. I think Neil went flying with him too, which is pretty cool. All right, let's do a little promo. if anyone's into networking and making new friends, Nick Ray has an amazing blog and newsletter. It's true. And he also has a book coming out on how to host parties, which, especially in my single days, were like my favorite things to go to. I think if I was going to try to make new friends, I would definitely be more into like hosting Nick style parties. Fatima, any great websites for cruises in Europe? Cruisesheet.com. Come on. I even made all this stuff so it'll convert it to your local currency. It'll like figure out where you are. I know I push Cruise Sheet sometimes, but like seriously, it's I made it because it's the cruise site that I wanted to make. I really don't care how much money I make from it. It's the newsletter in particular. I hate newsletters, and so I made it so you could very specifically say which cruise lines you like, what kind of room you like to have, and like what ports you want to leave, like whether you're willing to travel, all these different things. I kind of forget because I haven't changed the settings in a long time. So you could say like only from Europe and all this kind of stuff, and you'd get great weekly or twice weekly emails. But you should try it out. It really is like a good newsletter. Like I subscribe to it. And I obviously don't have to. Any gear that's crucial for cruising? I'll show you one thing I always bring, which is a water filter. I buy a water jug thing every single cruise I go on so that I can make tea with it. Although I might be able to stop because I got to diamond status on Royal Caribbean, and there's two benefits you get from that. One is that that I care about anyway. One is that they leave beverages in your room when you get there, but because I don't drink, they just give me tons of water. So I have like all these bottles of water over here. So maybe I don't really need to purify water anymore and carry that stupid thing. Because normally I buy one of those and then it's kind of hassle. I have to buy it on cruise day and then I leave it in the cabin so I don't have to carry it with me on future travels. And so it's this whole thing. But you probably don't care about that. What else do I bring? Not much, really. It's mostly just my normal gear. I'm looking around to see if I have anything else. Honestly, they kind of have everything you need. It's a pretty comfortable place to be. I'd say some shoes that are easy to slip on and slip off because you do tend to like go to your room, hang out, go do something. And so I like to have slip-on shoes. Let's see. This is going to be a question I don't know anything about, but what do you think about Anton and Andre, the Godfathers of DeFi, leaving the space? FTM taking a beating today. Don't know. I don't know who they are. I also don't know what FTM is, so I'm probably the exact wrong person to answer that question. By the way, you can ask questions that don't have to do with cruises too. I just figured since I'm on a cruise, it might be a good time to talk cruises. But I know. Oh, I'll tell you an interesting thing. In the past, before the pandemic, everybody on every cruise ship was old, and it's just sort of like there were many times when people would assume I worked on the ship, or they would like compliment me on my performance at the show because a young person on a cruise must be working there because there are just no young people know about cruising. And now I guess, I don't know if it's COVID related or if, I don't know what the deal is, or if I'm just taking shorter cruises, but now there's no old people. It's very, very bizarre. It's so strange that I don't know if I've seen old people on this cruise. It's all young people. So very, very bizarre, but also cool because I think cruising is like such a fun thing for young people to do. And so, yeah, it's like fun to see a new generation of people getting into it. There's also these like little special events or lounges that you can only get into if you have a certain status, which you get from doing a lot of cruises, and they're totally empty. It's like just us because no young people have been on enough cruises yet. Mark asks, how do you get so much energy for all you do? I don't know if I have all that much energy, to be honest. It's a good question, but I think to kind of take it easy. I drink tea, sit on my laptop a lot, and then I have then I'll go rock climbing or doing all the kind of cruise stuff. But I'm very good at switching. I have a system that I've written about both in my book and somewhere on the blog about time zone changes. And so time zone changes don't really affect me. So I think that makes my life easy that, I can just kind of keep going. also buying all these properties like in Hawaii, Budapest, the island, Tokyo. Is there another one? I guess just Vegas. Having home bases where I kind of have like comfortable bed, all my stuff. I find that really changes the experience because there's no transaction cost in going from like one place to another. It's just, you just step right into a new routine. So I understand how travel does feel really tiring, but I found that eliminated like 90% of it maybe. And I do find it a little more tiring when I have to go to places that aren't those, because you just sort of have to readjust, get your routine, get set up. So yeah, I don't know. I think today I look so tired though. Maybe I don't look like I have too much energy. Yeah, I think I sort of have average energy. I don't think I have a lot or a little or anything like that. Yeah, good question though. Lots of cities that host cruises complain that although beneficial to the city, it pollutes a lot. So people are sometimes against them. Counter thoughts. I think cruise pollution is a real issue. Look, I wish it wasn't, but you got to be honest. The cruise industry is improving very slowly. I wish that it would improve more. I think I'm generally kind of like libertarian, but I think this is an area where I wish there was more government regulation. So what's interesting is that there are ways to make ships a lot more green, a lot more eco-friendly. So for example, one of my favorite ships, the Celebrity Millennium, uses natural gas, which is, still not like as good as something totally renewable, but it's a lot better than the diesel that they use on these ships. I think it reduces pollutants by like 99% or something like that. Even on the diesels, there's these devices they could get, and I read about this years ago, so it might be different, but there are these devices that they could get and put on the smokestacks that would remove a lot of the pollutants, but they're expensive, so they don't do it. And I wish that was regulated, that they had to. Europe is doing a good job. Any ship that comes to Europe has to use better fuel. They have to like reach a higher level of eco-friendliness. So I wish they would do better. I really do. I think they are better than some people think, because if you compare them just to cars, it's like, well, per mile, it's like 50 times more polluting. But you also have to consider that the pollution that they're generating also includes, taking away me from creating any pollution at home. I mean, it's all the food, it's all the preparation, it's all the entertainment, it's all the, living, washing sheets, stuff like that, water. And so it still pollutes more. Like I hope that you could add it up, and it would be better than real life, but it's not. So I think it's the kind of thing where you think about like, well, when people are on vacation, they do probably do things that are a little more extravagant, but it's tricky. It really is a tricky issue. I hope that they continue to get better. Sorry, a little long-winded, but it's something I do think about. I remember using the Amex Platinum as a credit card before. What cards are you using now? I still have an Amex Platinum, essentially only to get into the lounges. I have the Capital One, whatever their newest one is. I think there's an X in it. Capital One Venture X or something. I don't know, they have these dumb names. It has the best priority pass right now, so you can have like unlimited people on it and get into lounges and stuff. That's really good. You need to have a non-Amex right now so that you can eat at the restaurants that give you free food with Amex. Trying to think what else I have. I have some city cards, the Prestige and the Double Cash. I'm a little bit less into it than I was before. I do still do it, but it used to be like primary focus of my life, and now I do it a little bit less. During COVID, I actually made this incredible site that you link all of your credit cards, and it tracks all your points and benefits, tells you which ones to use for every transaction, shows you a lot of cool stuff. Make sure you use all the perks. But then I didn't finish it and never launched it, even though it's like 90% done. So I made something to help you choose one. I just didn't launch it, unfortunately. What's up, Emily? Good to see you. Thanks for coming. How many passports do you have? Is it just American? I'm very interested in working around the need for visas, multiple passports, particularly for purchasing overseas property. I only have an American passport. I like the idea of having multiple passports, and it's something that I've looked into. And honestly, every time I go down that rabbit hole, it's just sort of not worth it. At least for me. I mean, it could be different for other people. And I know people that have gone down that rabbit hole, and it also seems to not really be worth it for them, to be totally honest. You just don't really need it, I think, at least for me. Like, I can be in any one of the properties. So first of all, it doesn't matter for purchasing overseas property, at least in any place that I've bought it. And also, like, I'm not going to be in any of these places more than 6 months a year. And as an American, I can go to all these places 6 months a year. So I don't know, like it's cool. And like, there's this like fantasy of like, oh, well, maybe I would need it someday, but I don't know. Honestly, not sure it really matters. I wish it did. I looked into it, and like, I think there's some chance I would maybe do the Portugal thing at some point, just because it's kind of easy, even though it's expensive. I don't know. What are you wearing? I'm wearing Chanel, and no, I'm wearing Woolen Prince. Woolen Prince V-neck T-shirt. Actually, I'm wearing, I don't know, stand up. Woolen Prince shorts I just got. You can't see them at all, can you? Here you go. Really like them. I wanted some basically gym shorts at home, and then I just got them, so I thought I'd bring them on a cruise because I had some extra space. Really comfortable, really, really comfortable, and pretty good pockets. So, yeah, I like them so far. Let's see. Are you just a tourist in Japan hungry, even though you own a house? Yep, just a tourist, which sucks. I wish I could get some benefits, and like, I really wish I could go to Japan. They won't let me in right now because of the pandemic, so that's annoying. Through Hungary, I could have gotten residency. I actually did get residency for 1 year, but I applied. It was this kind of annoying process where if I had gotten 5 year, I applied for 5 years, and if I'd gotten 5 years, I could have renewed it. Then if I learned Hungarian, I could have gotten a passport for like free, essentially. But they only gave me 1 year, and I thought, I don't want to deal with this every year. It's kind of good that I didn't, because it would have expired during COVID anyway. Plus, Hungarian is a really tricky language. Do you have advice for avoiding getting stressed by friction, travel, security checks, COVID tests, visa issues, delays, cancellations? Yes, lots of those. So I'd say the more you travel, the less you care about these things in general. Let's hit them one by one. Let's see. Security checks, you're just going to have to do it. You travel with one bag. You get pre-check. You get clear. I have all these things. I have one for Japan. I have the APEC card for Asia, which which lets you skip some stuff. I have, what's the one I have for Canada? Nexus. So like, I just go through the process of getting all of these things so that I get the easiest possible scenario. The only one I don't have is the UK one, although I think it's gone now, maybe. COVID tests are annoying. What I do is I just buy a bunch of those tests from Optum that you can do at home. It's not too bad. Walgreens now, even for travel, you can get free drive-through ones. So I've been doing those when I'm at home because that's really easy. Visa issues I just don't have. I don't know if you're a U.S. citizen or not, but it's pretty easy as a U.S. citizen. Delays and cancellations, they just don't happen that often. I don't know. It's the kind of thing where I think a lot of these are things that we worry about more than we actually experience them. So it's funny. I used to not really relate to questions like this. And then when COVID ended and I hadn't traveled in a long time and I wasn't in the rhythm of it, all of a sudden these things, I could feel it. I'm like, oh, like, what do I need to bring? Where do I need to go? Like, what order does everything happen in? It was interesting to sort of see it with fresh eyes. And it actually made me think like, oh, I understand why travel is stressful for some people. Now that I'm more used to it, I find that the COVID test's a little bit annoying because it's like this one extra level I'm not used to. But again, it's more the like thinking about it that's worse than actually doing it. I had to get one to go on the ship, and then I had to get one this morning, but it's not so bad. Another good question from Garrett. Favorite cruise ships and or interesting story from an onboard experience. It's really interesting. It's hard to predict which ships will be your favorite until you go on them. Jewel of the Seas is one that is kind of all of our favorites, and I'm not exactly sure why. It's just like there are really good spaces that you can go have tea, you can go hang out with your friends. It's like small enough that it's very easy to navigate, but big enough that it has a lot of the fun stuff. It has a really good climbing wall with some of the harder problems, so I like that. Like there's one on there I've done all of them but one, and so I'm going to go on Jewel of the Seas in April. And I'm hoping to finally get the hardest one they have, which I haven't been able to do yet. I'd say it's more lines. Like I like Royal Caribbean. They have ice skating, which I'm now trying to learn how to do and get better every day. They have the surf wave, which I'm not doing anymore because I nailed my head on the last one. They have rock climbing. The food's pretty good. Um, Celebrity I like too. They have slightly better food and better ambiance, but no fun things to do. Um, I also just really like the big Royal Caribbean ones. Some of them have like incredible shows, like these water shows that are almost like Cirque du Soleil. In fact, I think maybe the guy from Cirque du Soleil helped them make them, but I'm not sure about that. Um, Norwegian is also really good. This is kind of dumb, but I don't sail Norwegian as much because they don't have a good loyalty program, and I love getting status in Royal Caribbean because you really do get some cool benefits. Um, but Norwegian has really good areas that are just sort of like almost like 20 or 30 living rooms all put together. So like you and your friends can find like a couple chaise lounges with the table between them, or you can find like a round couch to play like werewolf or something. Um, but I'd say Royal Caribbean's my number one favorite, and then Celebrity and Norwegian are our next favorites. I have so many stories of onboard experiences. I don't know what kind you want, but I could definitely come up with some. What is internet on cruises like? Great question. How much is internet access? Could you remote work from a cruise ship? So I'd say internet access varies, and it's getting better all the time, and it's definitely much better on newer ships. So if you, or recently refurbished ships, but especially new ships, it's about $25 a day for the fastest. So it's expensive. And sometimes I try to get out of buying it where I'm like, I don't know, maybe I don't really need it. I usually end up caving and buying it. At its best, like on a newer Royal Caribbean ship, you can generally stream like Netflix and it looks good. I don't know if it's like low HD or like high non HD, but like good enough that on the TV in the room it'll actually look good if you stream from your phone. At worst, it's really bad, like really annoying. Like if you're in the middle of the ocean and it's rocky and the satellites can't quite keep up and you're on an older ship, it can be frustrating. So I'd say it's always good enough for like email and chat, essentially always good enough, generally good enough for voice communication, often good enough for video. But I would say if your work required you to like absolutely schedule a video call at a certain time, I'm not sure if you'd make it or not. So that would be tricky. And also like even for programming, it's a little bit annoying if I'm trying to like pull down a lot of data or do like some remote database stuff. That can be like enough friction that I'm like, I'll just wait till I get out on the shore. But it's an amazing place to work if you have like confined programming problems, brainstorming, writing, editing, anything like that. I really love it for that because everything's the background of your life is taken care of. Like your bed is made twice a day, your food is great, and it's like easy. You don't have to clean. Even with friends, it's just like this right balance of working. We usually work between lunch and dinner primarily, and then maybe a little in the morning or evening. But just like this nice balance of like working really hard, but then you have this wonderful dinner with all your friends. I don't know. So actually, I don't really have a good project to do on cruise ships right now, and I find that while I still love cruising, it takes the enjoyment down a notch because of that. Also, if you are going to buy internet access, two things. If you don't have any pretty high up status, you should buy it before you get on the ship. They usually offer a discount and it's a much better deal. If you do have status, it's usually better buying it on the ship. And if you wait like one day, it often is like cheaper enough because you don't want to pay for that day where you're in port till like 6 p.m. There's no point in paying for like that 5 hours before you sleep or whatever. So yeah. If you have many ideas or things that you would like to fix and having so many distracts you, how do you choose? What do you mean fix? Let me know what you mean, and then I'll give you a good answer. How do you qualify for APEC? What was the process like? It was very easy for me. I've heard for people after me that it might be more difficult. APEC is the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperative, and it's essentially greasing the wheels, makes it a little bit easier to travel if you do business in other countries. If you're not an American, it's much better. If you're not American, it gives you a business visa at all these places upon arrival, which is cool. For Americans, the only benefit really is that you get to use the APEC lane, which is the diplomat lane, which is pretty fun. Like you go to China, it's this like massive airport, huge lines everywhere. You go up to the diplomat lane. If you look like me, you don't look like a diplomat. And they're like, no, no, no. Then you show them this APEC card and they're like, oh, okay, go ahead in. So they just asked a little bit about my business. Because I have a cruise business, it was pretty easy for me to say like, hey, I go on cruises out of Asia. It's research. And like, yeah, it's like mostly true, but a stretch for sure. And they were like, okay, that's fine. Like they didn't really care. I told somebody after me to go get it, and their connection to Asia as a business, or the Pacific or whatever, was a little bit more tenuous. And I forget if they got it or not, but they were at least like, oh yeah, they asked a lot of questions. So I think your business probably is pretty legit though. Because I know a little bit about Garrett's business. I think you could easily, especially with your new business, I think you could easily make that count. Did you get a COVID booster? Yep, I did. I love the vaccine. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's usually I can see the arguments on both sides of things. I love the vaccine. I don't, I kind of get why people don't want it, but I think it's like some of the best medicine we have as a society. So I'm psyched about it. I waited a little bit longer because I did get COVID. So I figured to get like the most protection, I waited like 3 months after I got COVID, or 4 or 5 months, and then I got it. And then I mix and matched it. So I had Pfizer before, and so I got Moderna. Who knows if that matters or not, but no, that was my thought on it. Oh, tough question. What's better, Chipotle or cruise food? Oh man, that's a really tough one. I didn't know you guys were going to hit me with these tough questions today. Cruise food or Chipotle? I mean, Chipotle is better for you. Chipotle is like better for you. It's higher quality. It's more well balanced. But cruise food is a lot more fun, especially like lobster night. I mean, I ate on my last cruise. I just went on a 5-day cruise out of Texas. I had 8 lobsters, which is half of my max. So, not very much. It's, a good amount of lobsters, but not a ton. On this one, yesterday they have, so every day there's sort of like fish, chicken, beef, usually sometimes pork. Of all the beefs, the roast tenderloin is the best one. That was last night. I really like that one. It's like really just like tender, almost like filet mignon kind of beef. Big cruise tip for everybody who, if you aren't an experienced cruiser, you can order as many things as you want on the menu. So like I used to do cruise bulks when I was trying to gain weight, and I would just order like 4 3-egg omelets every day in the morning. I would like do 3 or 4 entrees every day at dinner. So it's like an awesome way to like only eat vegetables and protein and do a lot of workouts. The gyms are pretty good these days too. So yeah, hard to say. Cruise food. I think tonight's rack of lamb, by the way. That's another one of the best ones. I love rack of lamb. So it depends. It depends what you're after. I like having both though. Fatima asks, is it Fatima or Fatima? I'm starting to think maybe I'm saying that wrong. Just launched my coaching program this month. What would you suggest I focus on to sell it? This is a Noah question. I am the worst at selling things, as probably anybody who follows my stuff knows. I think the only reason that I could get coaching clients is because I had like 10 or 15 years of writing advice online that, probably anybody who signed up had taken some of that advice and found it useful. And so, so I didn't really do anything to get clients. And I don't know, like I'm also in maybe a different position where like, I don't really care if I get clients or not. Now I don't take them anymore. But even back then I was like, look, if somebody wants this, I'm going to price it to where I'm happy to do it, but I'm not like hungry to do it, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I don't have good advice for business stuff or marketing, especially marketing. I'm really bad at marketing. Sorry. I wish I could help. Mark asks, do you still do OMAD, which is 1 meal a day? Yeah. So when I'm in Vegas, I do, I don't know, maybe I've talked about this before. I do what I call luxury nuts at 4 p.m., which is I bought on eBay a little like first class nut container, a nut dish from United. And so then I have a mix of cashews, almonds, and mostly those two, and then a little bit of pecans and hazelnuts. I put it in my little Panasonic flash bake oven for 2.5 minutes, heat it up, and then I go eat that at my desk with some water at 4 p.m. Big luxury, guys. I'm telling you, it doesn't sound that luxurious, but whenever I have friends over and they're there for 4 p.m., we do luxury nuts, and everybody's like, wow, I can't believe how luxurious this is. It's really, there's something nice about it. I think there's a reason they give that to you. You know, if you're in business class or first class or whatever on airplanes, I see why they give it to those people. So I do that, luxury nuts at 4. And then at about 5:30 or 6, I eat my Chipotle, which I do just sort of like a normal big but nothing crazy bowl. And then often my wife makes fruit in the evening and I eat some of that. So, you know, it's expanded a little bit. And if she's not there, usually I don't have fruit. So it's a narrower window. When I travel, I essentially don't eat breakfast. I'll do, on a cruise, I'll sometimes do lunch, sometimes skip it. This is one of these things where you feel like you've kind of paid for it. And I'm like, well, I should at least go see. And then they have like steaks and stuff. I'm like, well, I don't know. Am I really not going to eat a steak? So I'll usually have like some salad and maybe a soup and fish or steak or something like that. So kind of one meal a day. I don't know that it matters that much, to be honest. Like the only benefits I really notice from it are that it's much more convenient. In terms of like body composition or anything like that, I don't really notice. I also find that by switching to it, I have more energy. I think before, when I would eat lunch, I would sort of recover from lunch a little bit. Maybe it takes energy to digest or something. I don't know. So yeah, I like doing it, but mainly for the convenience. Another good question. What tea did you bring on this cruise? Let me show you. So in my little NFC thing I made, I've got, let's see, can I show these here? Probably. Let's see. So this is, oh yeah, look at this. This is better than usual. This is green pearl, or pearl dragon, I think, from Jiaozhou. It's a really good Chinese green that's rolled. It's rare to have a rolled Chinese green. And so rolled for non-tea people just means they kind of like roll up a couple leaves into these little balls. When TSA sees this, sometimes they think they're weed. What I like about rolled teas is that I can fit like 30 grams in this little thing, which is enough for like 6 servings. So it's, you know, almost a week of tea right there. And so that's a really good, like, you can just drink this tea every day. That's what I'm drinking now. So you can see that from those little balls, this is what it looks like when it gets bigger. So when I put it in the Gaiwan, it barely covers the bottom, and now it's huge. So that's pretty cool. This one here I think this is I'm going to use my NFC thing. See, this is why I have it. Let's see. Yep. So this is from a guy named Dr. Chen in, let me show it to you, in Taiwan. I think it's kind of near Tynan, city kind of named after me, or I guess the opposite. This one's okay, to be honest. He used to have this other green tea that was just incredible. Black tea, sorry. He had 2 grades, and this was the higher one, and we all really loved the bottom one, or the like second best one. But then he ran out, and so now we have this one. It's pretty good. It's like an okay black tea, but I bought a lot of it thinking it was going to be great, and it's really compact and rolled, so that's why I carry that one. But I find I drink that one the least. Like if I'm doing 3 days in a row, I do the black, or the other one I'm going to show you, the green, and then this is like my 3rd day. And then this last one is also from Jiaozhou. It's called Phoenix Immortals, I think. Oh boy, I'm losing it. Phoenix Immortals, something like that. Here, I'll show you one of the rolled ones. So it's also really compact rolled black tea. I love Taiwanese black teas. They're some of my favorites. And so it's rare to find a rolled one. Basically, I have these because I was in Budapest and I said, hey, can you fill these up with whatever rolled teas you have? They were really, really good. That's what I've got. I also, Noah, who's not Noah Kagan, Noah, what's his last name? Do I know his last name? Not sure. Anyway, I'm not sure if it's public or private, but a guy named Noah Adams. I think that is public. He very graciously signed me up for, look at this, the My Tea Pal tea club, which is pretty cool. Like what a super nice thing to do. What's up, Noah, if you're watching this later? He's usually on these live streams. So what's cool about it is that it's all these little small tea things. So this is 5 grams, so it's 1 serving. I had another one yesterday that was really good. I'll show you that one, actually. Probably a lot of people did not want this much information on tea, but there you go. This was a really good one. I like this Oriental Tibetan Tea A. Who knows what that is? But it was a heicha, black tea, or dark tea, sorry. Really good. Really enjoyed that one yesterday. And then the last thing, this is what I normally do for cruises. Like probably 90% of cruises, I managed to go to Budapest in advance to go to Jiaozhou, and they have these sample packs that are just these little bags of tea. So this one had 2 servings. So I had this on my last cruise, so I have 1 left. So basically any little small container I have, I try to bring, especially because I always have friends on the cruises, and so I try to save like specialties to drink with them in addition to what I have in here. Sorry, very long description, probably more info than you wanted there. But once you get me started on tea, there we go. Mark, oh, cool. Mark met Gabor. So nice. Yeah, Gabor is such a gem of a person. So is Agnes, who works there. Part of why I like Jiaozhou is just incredible, super sweet people. And when I think about going to Budapest, a lot of it is I think, oh, I get to like hang out with them and have my tea with them. And so, yeah, if you have a chance to go to Jiaozhou in Budapest, definitely tell them that they show up to these things sometimes, so you can tell them that you saw me on this, and they'll take some time and talk with you about tea, and it'll be a really nice experience. Nice. Glad you went there, Mark. Okay. Puer is sort of good for the volume, but the shape of it isn't good. Like I guess I could bring a whole disc or whatever, a whole cake, but sometimes I have torchas, like the little bullet things, and I would just throw a few of those in my bag, and those are great because you can also just dunk one in the bottom of this, put hot water in, and drink it as you go. By the way, you're about to see for the first time on camera how I heat water when I'm gone. Not very exciting, but it's a first. So I've got this little thing, stick it in there. It has this clip, so you're supposed to put it on the edge, but I just stick it all the way in. So far, I haven't been electrocuted. And then you just flick the switch. Really bulky, dumb switch. Put it on. I forgot to bring. So one cool thing about cruises, they always have 120 volt and then 240 volt outlets. 240 volt with the same thing will heat at 4 times the speed, which is a little hard to wrap your mind around, but if you read about it, it makes sense. But I forgot to bring my adapter on this cruise. I lost it, and the new one hasn't come in yet. So you're going to see how long it takes with 120 volt, and unfortunately, quite a while. All right. It's funny. I feel like questions are always like, there's none, and I'm like, oh, maybe we're done. And then there's a ton of them, and I have to struggle to get to the bottom. But I appreciate all of them. Let's see. Another good one from Garrett. What pricing trends on cruises have you seen in the last year during COVID era? Is there a current hot deal to be found? Yes. Now is I don't know about the best time. Maybe a couple months ago was the best time, but there are so many deals right now. There's one, you'd have to fly to San Juan, so that makes it a less attractive deal. But for $800, you can get a suite on an awesome itinerary. Normally, I don't really care about the itineraries because they just kind of, look, I'm in Mexico right now and I just stay on the ship basically. But so many good stops, Bonaire and Aruba and all these places you're probably just not going to go otherwise. So that's a cool one. I have a friend who's on it right now. He's actually doing it back to back, so he's doing 2 in a row, which is pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of good deals right now. This is typically the best time to do deals, and I'm not really sure why, but maybe till the end of March there tend to be a lot of good deals. Emily asks, do you ever have issues with seasickness on cruises during storms? I don't. I'd say the first day or two of a rocky, if you're doing a transatlantic where you go straight out to the middle of the ocean, you'll feel it. And I wouldn't say I feel sick, but I just sort of feel like I'm not quite used to the motion. Most cruises stay pretty close to land, and they usually have extra time so they can sort of avoid storms. The only time you really feel crazy rocking is if you do a transatlantic or transpacific, which are the best cruises. They're the most fun. I had one friend once who was very sick. It was pretty bad. Like, she just didn't show up for dinner for like probably the 4 or 5 middle days of the 7-day crossing. But even still, she like loves cruising because she's like, oh, I'll get used to it eventually. See, and you do get used to it. So I'd say that unless you're extremely susceptible, like I don't feel great on small ships, like small boats. I do okay, but not like I could get seasick if I was like inside, not looking out, whatever. But it doesn't bother me at all on big ships. So you'd probably be fine. Let's see. Ooh, great question. I love that this is just turning into a tea chat. Forget about cruises. I'm just getting used to getting teas and tea bags. How would you get started? Sample packs, etc. I would get a gaiwan, or there's things called like, I forget what they're called, like easy gaiwans or something. That are, it's a similar brewing style, but it kind of has like a grate in it or a filter in it, so you can just kind of, you don't have to do it right. You could get one of those, and I would get a sample pack from Jiaozhou. They have really good sample packs. Don't get the Pu'er one, I would say. It's good, but it's probably not like the right beginner thing. I would try like a general sample pack so you can try all the different kinds. Or their Taiwanese sample pack, I think, is pretty palatable for like new people. I'm trying to think what else would be a good option. Yeah, you're in Europe anyway. I would do Jiaozhou. They're going to be the best. If you just wanted to get a few from them, I'd say you could also get, actually, that green tea I mentioned is really good. The Dragon Pearl, actually, somebody mentioned it. They have a Phoenix Oolong, which is, I think, is just a really accessible, great tea. Maybe just try a few of those and get used to brewing it. A lot of the fun is that, you've got this gaiwan, you kind of brew it for yourself, and it's, it's like a little journey. Looks like Emily's giving you good advice too. Oh, you're in Texas. Sorry, didn't see that. Now I see he's in Texas. Why do I think you're in Germany? Maybe you were in Germany. Oh, you were in Germany recently. That's why. You could also, if you want to make like one more step between making your own tea. Also, you could go to Rishi. Rishi has water's boiling. It's not quite. There's different phases. Actually, this is now probably about green tea level. All right, let's stop it. There's 3 phases of this thing. Right now, where it starts to make some noise and makes a little steam is like good for green tea. Then it starts to ripple a little bit. That's like 185 for oolong. And then when it boils and makes a mess everywhere, that's black. That's boiling. All right, so then we just take this thing out. I kind of let it cool for a second. What's up, Roman, by the way? Good to see you, man. All right, good enough. I always think this is going to burn things when I put it down, but it doesn't seem to. So there we go. All right, give me 1 second to make my tea. In fact, Dieter, look, I'm going to show you how to make tea. So you've got your gaiwan. You put about 5 grams of tea in there. Where's the little scale? I have a little tiny scale that I travel with. Here it is. But you can have a bigger one. Or if you have a kitchen scale, it's good enough. But it has to go down to like tenths of grams, I'd say. So you have about 5 grams, 6 grams. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take the hot water, pour it in. And don't put it too high. Some people put it too high, but you just, I'm not going to really be able to show you. Oh, look here. How about this? Oh, my God, look at this. It's a tutorial. So that about that height. Then just put it there. Now, for a green tea that I haven't brewed that many times, this is going to be pretty strong. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this. This is called a fairness pitcher, but you don't really need that. You could also just dunk it all in a mug if you're drinking yourself, or 2 big cups if you're going to split with somebody. So now I'm just going to hold it like this. Put your fingers on the edge where they're not going to get burnt. Some people hold it here and you can get burnt. You just do the edge. 1 finger on the top like that. And you pour it out. And that's that. I just try to get all of it out. Otherwise, a little bit will be at the bottom, kind of steeping and getting bitter. There you go. And now, oops, I didn't drink this. Now you just pour yourself a cup. And the point of the fairness pitcher is that whatever comes first out of the gaiwan is going to be pretty light, and whatever comes out of the bottom will be a little bit darker. And so that kind of mixes it so everybody gets the same experience. So anyway, that's how you do it. Let's see. And then when you taste it, if it's a little bit weak, then you would steep it longer the next time, plus a little extra because it's one steep later. And if it's too strong, you might just do a really quick one next time, quicker one. Oh, I guess that is a pretty basic question. How long do you steep? I'd say don't be afraid to mess it up a few times. And even like if you really mess it up, just dump out the tea and start over. It's the kind of thing that you get a feel for it. If the leaves are still rolled, like the first steep I do with these, I'll do it a little bit longer, maybe 30, 45 seconds, because you want to let them unroll so you actually get that surface area. The second time, when they're unrolled, I might just put it in and dump it out immediately, like 5-10 seconds. And then maybe you add about 5 or 10 seconds every time you do it. The biggest, oh yeah, Denny's telling you this anyway. Yeah, most people do it too long because when you have just like a tiny tea bag, people leave them in there. But really you want to do it short. It's better to do it err on the side of short steep, so that if it's not good, you haven't like wasted the flavor that's in the tea. If you do a really long steep, it's not going to taste good, and you've sort of taken all of the stuff out. And yeah, you use the same leaves multiple times. So, that's sort of the point, is that this is only maybe, I don't know, what's this, like 120, 130 milliliters, something like that, 5 grams of tea. So it's like a huge amount of leaf for not too much water. So you're just trying to extract like a layer of flavor every time, and you do it over and over again. And this is called Gong Fu tea. It's the Chinese style of, sort of basic Chinese style of making tea with the gaiwan. And it's fun because you get really good flavor every time, but you get to do it like 10, 15 times maybe with a good tea. And it's almost like a little journey where you get to see how the tea tastes as it goes through different phases. But when it sounds like complicated and annoying, but you could really just experiment with it. Just, at some point it tastes like water and you don't want to do it anymore, and that's fine. I'd say, like, if you're at a real tea shop and they're doing it for you, they might only let you do it 5 or 6 times. In fact, there's this place in Japan that I love. It's called Higashiya, or they have another location called Yakumo Saryo. And they have gyokuro, which is like one of the highest end Japanese green teas. It's incredible. And I got into a big argument with them once because they would only do it 4 times. And, in like my limited Japanese, I was like, please, could we do it a 5th time? I make this tea all the time at home. It's one of my favorites. And they were like, we're so sorry. The experience would not be befitting of somebody who enjoys tea as much as you. Like this, like overly like respectful sort of thing. And it's because it does start to get worse after a period of time. But, if I'm at home, sometimes I'll brew a tea like 10, 12 times, 20 times. At the end, it just kind of tastes like water. But hey, who doesn't like water? But yeah, please try the tea and try making tea. Get a Phoenix Oolong. That's like an easy one to brew. Maybe try that. Just find a Phoenix Oolong. Jiaozhou will be great. Rishi will be okay. Tea Company, well, they probably won't have a Phoenix, but they would have some other good ones. Like a Baozhong from Tea Company would probably be good. Just get anything like that and just give it a go. The fun part is you can kind of experiment and kind of figure out what you like. Some people like a lighter steep. Some people like a more heavy steep. And, it's kind of fun that you get to make your own journey out of this stuff. All right. I know some of my readers hate tea, and they hate when I talk about tea, and it's annoying. So, all right, that's enough for that tea question. But if you give me another tea question, you never know. So we've got maybe about 10 minutes here. Yeah, Denny has some good advice here on tea as well too. Nice. Let's go. Hi, Tynan. VS what? Going to Budapest. Nice. Hey, I'm going to be in Budapest in April too. Maybe I'll see you at Jiaozhou. Who knows? Awesome. If you haven't been to Budapest before, you're going to love it. One of the best cities in the world. As soon as I leave Budapest and I get home, I'm like, man, happy to be home, but I cannot wait to go back to Budapest. Got to do the baths. Do all 3 of the best baths. That's Széchenyi, that's Gellert, and especially Rudas. Rudas is number 1. You got to go to Jiaozhou. Go to the fancy restaurants for lunch. They're different every time because COVID, some are open, some are closed. There's a lot of good nature stuff there. The Danube is great. What else do I like? The escape games. Oh my God, the best escape games. If you can find a friend, do some escape games there. Locked.hu is probably my favorite. What's the other one? There's a really good new one. I forget what they're called. Yeah. Ooh, home automation. Great questions. I love these. By the way, Denny, I'm getting close to being ready for the home thing. I think I'm like one spa room away from being ready, and then let's do it. Have you moved to Home Assistant? Do you have any Arduino or ESP home projects you use at home? I have not moved yet. I just haven't. I've just been so busy with these other projects. And I think the problem is the longer I wait, the more invested I get in Habitat, building all these like more complex automations. And then I'm like, oh, I've got to unpair everything. I've got to pair it again with Home Assistant. I know I should just make the leap. I think it's going to be one of those things where like next time I have 2 weeks in Vegas, I'm just going to do it. But actually, I'm going to have probably more than 2 weeks in Vegas coming up. My dad's going to come and help me finish the spa. So I'm really excited about that, or make progress on the spa. It's sort of like a never-ending project at this point. I don't do any Arduino ESP home projects. I actually bought some ESP things because the pool light, I have the super annoying pool light where it can do multiple colors, but the way you switch them is by flicking it on and off. And it's outside, and it's in this metal box, and so it gets really bad Z-wave reception. And so it's hard to like do precision on, off to get to the color I want. And so often I'll like leave for dinner or something when it's bright out. I'll come back and the pool is this like yellow color. It looks like just terrible, like mold, like algae or something, instead of purple, or blue, which are the ones I like. So I bought an ESP that I was going to program, so when it gets a signal, it goes tick, 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 on, off. But then I ended up getting a Wi-Fi one, and that worked better. I have been doing more home automation projects, though. Actually, the sensor in my hot tub broke, and I love this hot tub. I bought this like $500 hot tub on Craigslist that I really like. And so I made something where I have my own thermometer in it, and then I have a relay on it to turn it on and off based on the temperature. And so I'm trying to get a little more complicated with that, like where I leave, it'll lower the temperature, which I couldn't do before. At night, when I'm more likely to go in, it'll raise the temperature. So I'm working on that. But yeah, I should just do the Arduino stuff. I think it's the kind of thing where like, as soon as I make one Arduino thing for it, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm never going back. Yeah. Anyway, I should do that. What's up, John? It's cool to see all these people that I'm used to seeing. What watch are you wearing? Does the crown stick out enough to irritate your wrist, or is it comfortable? This is let's see, this thing can focus. Maybe you can actually see it. No, upside down. I'll just show you. I love this watch. So this is a Breitling Transocean Unitime. Wow, it's cool this thing can focus so close. So as you can see, I don't know if this has good enough quality to see, but it has all the time zones around the outside, which is pretty cool. So you can see the time anywhere in the world. And then I'll show you this feature too. If you pull out the crown one notch, you can move between time zones just with one click, which is pretty neat. So this is the one that I travel with. So you probably never see it on the live stream because I usually do it from home. The crown is okay. It's not too big, but these little spiky things are kind of big, and I've nailed my wife with these before when I sleep and like roll over and she gets spiked. I don't know if you can see, but they're really sharp. You know, look, I kind of have little girly wrists. This thing's probably too big for my wrist, but it's like one of very few watches that has all these features. So, yeah, there we are. Dieter, starting over in life, was wondering when you're starting your next coaching weekend. I don't know. I would love to do it soon. I feel like COVID is just sort of, it makes it a little bit annoying because like some people are, you know, everybody has different risk tolerances, and it makes it so some people can't come. And the last one, I had some last minute cancellations that I kind of think were due to COVID. So I'm just sort of trying to wait till there's less friction for people to do it, but can't wait to do another one. It's honestly like my favorite thing to do. I love doing the superhuman events. Especially when I do I often do like a follow-up with them a month later, and like I get to see all the changes they made, and I'm so psyched. I'm like, I need to book one immediately. So I just did one of the makeup ones, and I'm sort of feeling it. Would love to have you come to one. Hopefully soon. Maybe actually, now that you've reminded me, maybe let's see. Maybe the next few months I'll try to do one. thinking of taking a friend to Budapest, trying to convince him to travel without a check bag. Just get him to try it. You just have to force him to try it once and be like, look, just see how it is. If it's not good, I'll never push you again. And most people, once they feel that freedom, totally different. Even you could get him to do the weasel step of having like 2 bags, one like overhead, one under the thing. Yeah, Roman, that's probably the best way to do it. Roman says he's on Habitat now, but looking into the connection. I tried to do it and it didn't work immediately. And I was just like, had other stuff going on. I was like, oh, whatever, I'm not going to do it. But I think that is probably the right way to do it. Do you always get a balcony room when cruising? No, I have been recently. I used to always do inside rooms because I was like, I'm not paying $50 more for a window. That's ridiculous. There's honestly different benefits. The last one I did last week was an inside room with no window. The inside ones, you will never get better sleep in your entire life. They're the quietest. They're pitch black. I even will put a towel under the door and cover up the peephole thing so there's like zero light. And I'll tell you, if you need to catch up on sleep, you go on a inside cabin and fall asleep. Unreal. I mean, you really your sleep is so good. That said, I was on that one with my wife, and a lot of times we just wanted to kind of hang out in the room and read or be on our laptops, and it kind of sucks to not be able to see outside. The thing about balconies is that I never go on the balcony. Never, ever, ever. Basically, the first day I'm like, oh, I have a balcony, and I go out there, and it's windy, and it's not very big, and I don't know. So balconies are kind of pointless. What I like about them is that it gives you a huge window, and it is really nice if you're hanging out. Actually, I can move this thing. Well, my room's not that clean, but I'll show you what it looks like. Look at this area here. I've got little couch area. So that's where I have tea. That's a towel animal that guy makes. And I can look out the window, which is pretty nice. There we go. So it's nice having that. This ship also, the problem with the last ship we were on is it didn't have a good hangout area during the day, so we hung out in the room. If you go on a ship that has a good hangout area, you kind of don't need a window. My next cruise, I'll probably post a picture to Instagram that starts tomorrow, so I'll have the room tomorrow, has no balcony, but huge windows. It's on the front corner of the ship, so it's a 90-degree round thing of windows, so that might be the best. I'd say that the jump from going inside to window can be huge. Sometimes it's this little porthole that is okay. If you're going inside to a good window, it's almost the same as balcony. Balcony really is kind of pointless. And then suite is even more pointless. I stayed in one once, and it's a balcony with a few extra feet that is kind of unusable. So yeah. What's the next international travel destination? Do you have any never been there spots on your list? Wow, a lot of good questions from you guys today. I appreciate that. Where am I going? I'm going to Hawaii right after this cruise, which is not international. Then I'm doing a cruise. Let's see. Well, then I'm going to have 6 weeks before my next planned trip. So who knows? I might, the minute Japan will let me in, I'll go to Japan. Still waiting for that. I might go to Budapest, or London to visit some friends in March or April. But then I'm going to do a cruise in the end of April to Europe. And then I'm going to have 2 weeks in Europe until my next cruise, which leaves Europe. So spend a lot of time in Europe. I'm not sure exactly where I'll go. Obviously Budapest for some of it, but may pop around a little bit. Right now it's sort of where will let me in, Singapore will let me in now. And so I haven't spent a lot of time there, just maybe a week total in my life, but it has it's Asia. I just miss Asia, the food, the sort of, different cultures there. And Singapore's kind of a melting pot of Asian culture. So I thought about just going there just because I can. So we'll see. Never been there spots on your list. Would love to go to Antarctica. That's really high on my list. Would love to go to Antarctica. Greenland's I guess I could just go to any of these places. So how much do I really want to go if I haven't been? But Greenland sounds interesting to me. I guess I would have said Trans-Siberian Express or whatever it's called, the train, let's say with the way things are going now. That may not be in the near future. Yeah, not too many places though. What I found is that I've been to how many countries now? Like 80 or something countries, or 180 or I used to know, but now that I don't go anywhere, I don't really know. But I've been to a lot of countries, and I find that going to like one new country, 80 or 90% of the time is like, it's fine, but it's not like, but I'd be better served going to somewhere I really like and going deeper. But I'm sure there's, I still get surprised sometimes. I'd say also Central Asia, like I've spent a little bit of time in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Georgia. Those places are so awesome that I would like to maybe explore more there. I tend to get stuck. VS what? That must be how I pronounce that. I tend to get stuck in my comfort zone and avoid some activities. What are your favorite memories that you thought were going to be way outside your comfort zone? Favorite memories that you thought were going to be way outside your comfort zone. I'll tell you a funny one recently. My friend Noah Kagan, who you guys all, probably a lot of you know, he was having a birthday party last week or 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was a week ago. And some of his friends are like a little more of the like bro-y side of like who I would have. Like, I think I'm probably like one of his nerdiest friends. And then, there's a whole spectrum there. And they like party, and I don't know anybody else who really does. And so I thought that his birthday party was going to kind of be out of my comfort zone. And I was even like, I don't know, man, if it's like too partying, I'm just leaving early and all this. And actually it was like this amazing time. I like had awesome connections with a bunch of his friends, including like Dan Andrews, the guy from Tropical MBA, who like I know a little bit, and we've had a little bit of interaction, but it was like really fun to spend some time with him. And even one of the guys who I think I would have expected, just based on initial impressions, was going to be like more like maybe someone I wouldn't necessarily want to hang out with, was like one of my favorite people. Now he's on back-to-back cruises because we were talking about cruises. So that's just a recent example that comes to mind. All right, so now Dieter, look, the tea education continues. So I just poured water into the guy one. And that last one was pretty good, but it's been a little longer, so now I'm going to do one more. Let it go a little bit longer. Have you been noticing increased Bitcoin Cash Podcast asks, have you been noticing increased crypto adoption around the world, particularly for actual payments? And he asks if I accept crypto for my products or alternatively in population mindshare. Population mindshare for sure. I mean, I haven't been to that many places around the world recently, honestly, like Budapest and London. Have I really even been to any other countries? Canada, I guess. People are talking about crypto more for sure. By the way, it's great that this video is still working after all that rocky start. I just realized that we haven't had any problems. But I don't know that anybody really accepts it. I would love to accept it for any of my products. So please pay me in crypto. That'd be the best. I did accept stuff way back in the day in crypto, and I think probably it's worth like a lot more just based on the time. You know what? We're going to let Emily do her plug. She's been asking great questions. Shameless little plug. I suspect that as you're all alternative thinkers like Tynan, you might appreciate this. I started a YouTube channel recently for fun where I make decisions using dice. Oh, I'm going to check that out. All right, cool. I didn't read that before I clicked it. Interesting. All right, I'm going to check that out. Do you have any lingering concerns about? Oh, I should really go soon. All right, we're going to do maybe a couple more questions. Do you have any lingering concerns about cruising? COVID outbreak causing quarantine situation? Zero at all. First of all, I think what people who don't cruise don't realize is cruises are like systems in action. Like, it is incredible how they got caught off guard and they had their issues just like a lot of places did. And it, of course, could be a bigger problem with confined spaces, especially with the staff, because they interact with a lot of people and they're also double occupancy. So like that's actually what cruise lines are focusing more. Oh shoot, I'm letting this thing overbrew. Don't do what I just did there. Denny, come on, you're supposed to tell me to pour that, or Roman. All right. Oops. Once you've brewed a tea enough times, though, like now it won't be too bad. It just won't be like ideal. So anyway, I'm not worried about it all. I also just don't care about COVID at this point. Like, I had it. It wasn't bad at all. I don't really care. Omicron is like I had tons of friends that got Omicron. It didn't affect anybody. Like I'm over it. I think it's like a flu or worse at this point where we are with vaccines, with treatments. So I'm not like a COVID denier or anything weird like that. I just think where we're at now, couldn't care less. I would love to get quarantined on a ship, by the way. That's like a dream scenario. I have a great room. I could just be here all the time. I've got tea that would last me. Great situation. I would love to be. Plus, I think I would get a free cruise out of it. If you get COVID on a ship, they send you back on by a private jet. Beautiful. So I would love to get COVID on a ship. But yeah, anyway, cruise lines have such good systems that like now nobody's getting COVID on cruise ships. And if they do, they catch it, they quarantine, they send you back in a private jet. It's like, it's an awesome situation. So I've actually been on several cruises since COVID, since they reopened. I think I've been on 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 5th since it started. I was in London. These days, I don't tend to do meetups. I don't know. Like, I love doing meetups, but I'll tell you what, honestly, the way I feel about it now is that I have so many great friends. I have like such limited, my time now is like every day is accounted for. Like even like I have this cruise, then I have another cruise. And then the morning I get there, I fly to Hilo where I get to hang out for 3 days just to do a tea class and hopefully a scuba dive. Then I go to Kauai to visit my friends and we have a week. So it's like, I tend to not have like free days where I don't have anything planned anymore. So while I like doing meetups, it's like a little bit of overhead and work to set them up. It requires me to plan ahead in a way that I don't really like to do, but they are very fun. I like doing them. So maybe I could do a London one sometime. Maybe I'll tell you, maybe email me, and maybe if you want to set it up, I'll show up. We could do something like that and I'll promote it. Maybe we'll do something like that. All right, guys, I can do one more question if somebody has a quick one. Then I'm going to go probably eat lunch. I usually eat lunch on cruises. And then I have a coaching call at 4, I think. So I've got a few hours. I might go around Ensenada. It's too bad nobody's been. I wish somebody could have given me a tip on it. If you watch this so I'm streaming this to YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. If you watch it on anything other than YouTube, would you please let me know? I want to know if it's worth me bothering to stream to these things or if not. Thank you, Denny. I appreciate it. So Denny's going to help me do Tynan's crib video, which should be pretty fun. I think I kind of have enough crazy stuff that I've built in the house now that it's like we've crossed the threshold where it'd be interesting and it wouldn't just be me saying like, oh, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to do something here. So as soon as I get, I don't know, it's always one more thing. As soon as I finish the spa, I think then I'm ready. And I have one more thing I really want to do. 2 more. Once I get these next 2 things done, we're going to do it. Really appreciate the offer. All right, guys, I'll wait 1 or 2 more questions, 2 more seconds, minutes. If there's no more questions, then I think I'm out of here. By the way, I appreciate all you guys coming out last minute. Did you guys see this? Would you guys let me know, did you see this because I put it on Twitter? Did you see it because it was on YouTube? I'm trying to understand how people find out about this, because my dream scenario is that some days I just wake up and I'm like, I don't have too much going on until the afternoon or whatever. I would love it if I could just be like, hey, I'm doing this thing in 2 hours, and people would show up. Then I would do a lot more of them because it's sometimes easier for me to not have to plan ahead. So Twitter, YouTube, cool. My pleasure answering all the questions. Thanks for showing up, and just kind of fun, like mental exercise to get to see what people care about and to talk about. Oh, nice. I appreciate that. Dieter, thanks, man. Oh, whoops, clicked the wrong one. Thanks for posting on Noah's Slack. Let's take over his audience, right? Question, VS what, did you see it in your recommendations because you subscribe, or just like you don't know who I am and it randomly showed up? Just curious. Live now, part of YouTube stream. Okay, so it sounds like even if I just do it randomly, maybe I'll do a surprise one sometime. I should A/B test this. I'm going to do a surprise one where I don't post it anywhere and I just start it and see if anybody sees it and shows up. That'd be fun. Hate to be the YouTube guy, and I don't really care about subscribers, but if you want to see these in the future, do the subscribe, do the notification thing. Even then, you still don't see them. I have that on Noah's, and I feel like I never see them, but I may do some random ones. And so if you subscribe, I'm never going to post anything annoying that you might get to see it. All right, guys, I think that's it. I'm going to go walk around, see if there's anything cool in Ensenada. Appreciate you guys showing up, especially all these people that I know have read for a while or show on all these sorts of things, or show up to these, show up to events. Really cool to see all you guys. You're all awesome. Thank you for the great questions. Have a great day. Go on a cruise. See you later.